Well, hello. It has been a while, hasn't it? I don't know how long. 6 months, maybe, since my last YouTube, maybe less. Sorry, I have been procrastinating because I've been collecting all of this footage and it's just grown and grown. And eventually I'm like, I'm actually just going to start a new one because too much has happened and I've left too much time. So if you want to hear about what's been happening and where I am, because I am somewhere new, and what I've been getting up to and what rides and adventures lie ahead, then stay tuned because I will bring you up to speed shortly. So here I am, and where is that? I am in a shed underneath a chalet in a little holiday home that we have bought on the Coromandel. So we've been very lucky to be able to buy a second home as a holiday home, and in a beautiful place. Couple of hours away from Auckland and the Big Smoke, and we have been coming here every weekend for 4 months now, cleaning the place up, redecorating, making it how we want it. And along the way, at the back of my mind, I've been wondering, how do I get my motorbikes down here, because this is motorbike heaven. There are so many motorcycles around and so many very interesting roads and trails that lie ahead for us to explore. And the reason why I've been wondering is because there's no garage, so there's nowhere to put the bikes. And I've got this little shed, but it's not big enough for Gus, because Gus is big, right? And I actually need a shed. So what I've been doing is building a little, another shed, a secondary shed, which is just wooden framing underneath our deck. So there's space under the deck. And I've just about finished it and painted it all up. And so now I have a place to hide a motorcycle. And even it's got a little shed of its own within the shed, which is where you can hang up all your gear. So I'm going to show you all of that, and it's very exciting because this starts a new chapter of exploring a whole new part of the country that we don't know very well. We've come to occasionally, I've done a couple of motorcycle rides here, but a whole new phase of life for us, and very exciting. So stick around and we'll go for a ride and show you a little bit of the area, and then talk about lots of the adventures that are coming down the line in this beautiful place. Okay, so you can see, if you look under this chalet, it's open. See, it's completely open. You can see through underneath the deck. And what I've done is I have framed mine and put a motorcycle place inside. And there it is. See that? So everything below the balustrade of the deck, I made that framing, and I put the two doors in, and that's where I'm hiding my bike. I've got a nice little shed here, which has got all my tools and things. But this is where I hide my bike. Let's have a look. Ta-da! Look at that. Now it's muddy. The floor is muddy. I've still got to scrape it out, and I'll put down some stones or maybe even some pavers. But for now, it works. Put a light fitting in so I can see here at night. And I'm going to, if you look at the front doors, I've put some of that in just so you can't see, and I'll continue to do it, which will make it completely black inside, which means the light will be necessary. But just to keep it safe and to keep it sheltered, there he is. Why are you leaning? You're not supposed to be leaning. You're on your stand. Okay, the ground is at a slight angle. Doesn't matter. Now, okay, so this is how you get out. Open these two. Let me do it. Try not to look at my number. Okay. So this is the way out. See, underneath some swings, and you can see I've already torn up the lawn. I'm going to have to fix the lawn. Anyway, so this is the other side, and here are my doors to get out. In and out. I mean, I could back it out, but it's quite steep out there. Probably be a bit risky. Ta-da! And then here is my other shed. It's my motorcycle shed. Check this out. It's where I store all of my motorcycle gear. Let me just put the lights on. How cool is this? Okay. And there's lots of space for lots of gear. Ironically, I've trimmed down my gear, so I don't need as much, but what a lovely, useful space to store my top box and all my other gear and stuff. Absolutely perfect. The challenge is to get out of here. So I've got limited space, but I do have enough. So it's right in, right out. I just need to get a drive-through hatch put over there and get my wife to pass me coffee as I come through. Maybe someone can explain this to me, why a GS won't start with clutch in first, because that seems to be the way to do a hill start. And for some reason I have to be in neutral, which is not easy for hill starts if you cut out. But anyway, it is what it is. Let's go. So, to get out, I have to take this corner, which is not too difficult. There you go, easy. And then basically drive up the garden on the side here, and I'm gone. It doesn't help if this blows closed. You stay open. Alrighty. And off we go. You can see I've dug some trails. Ooh, it's slippery because it's muddy. So that's gonna probably, anyway, so that's me leaving. Before I get sidetracked, there's a warning about my key. Good to be riding again. It's been a while. This road is called the Grove, and the reason why is because of this tree. And I've had a look at pictures of this place where there were no houses. This tree was one of the first trees, and they built the road around it. That's my neighbour, Ange. So you can see the damage I've done to my grass. Eek. I'm going to have to do a little pathway, and that's actually the neighbours, so I'll have to do a little pathway. It comes up here. If I've got some drone footage, I'll show it of the place, but this is a very well hidden and not well known haven in New Zealand on the Coromandel near Whangamata. When we bought here, people were like, please don't tell anybody about this place. We'd like to keep it to ourselves. Anyway, so just left literally 20 meters away, and now another 30, 40 meters, so maybe 80 meters. Look at that view. Okay? Whangamata is quite unique in that there's all this access to the beach, and there's this pine amphitheatre around. There's only 170 houses, I think, here, so it's very small. There's only one little cafe and one small little restaurant, nothing else. But how beautiful. When we first came here, we fell in love with the place, and we knew we just had to buy. And it's only 2 hours from Auckland, so it's a reasonable trip after work on a Friday to get here for a weekend. And we have been coming almost every weekend since February, except for our little trip into Japan. This place reminds me of Wayward Pines, the series, because of all the pine trees behind it. Just missing a big mountain, but I love it. Okay, let's have a little bit of a look. I don't think you'll get the sense of the depth on video, but we are going quite steeply down to the beach, and we've had some lovely beach days already. Of course, it's middle of winter, so it's pretty damn cold, but there's still many surfers this morning. We counted 20 surfers. There's our little dairy. and the little restaurant. And they are putting fibre in here now, so you can see all the roadworks. It's pretty ugly, but it'll be finished soon. They're putting fibre throughout Whangamata, and very soon I'll be able to not just use mobile broadband, but I'll be able to use fibre, which is very cool. And now we are leaving Whangamata. That's it. That's literally how small it is, and heading into the forest. These forests is what makes the place, because it's like a secluded little haven. And there's some lovely motorcycle tracks which we are going to explore. I've done a few already, but they're not too challenging, but they are not easy, especially for someone like me who has not a lot of experience. But I've got my knobblies on, and so we'll definitely do a little forest ride shortly. But today I just wanted to take a little ride around Whangamata and Whangamata, just to give a bit of a lay of the land for my memories, so I can look back one day and remember the fun that we had here. Reminds me of a little secluded American, I shouldn't say Stephen King, but a little bit. So I'll just go down a little bit just to show you, but this gravel road is called Peninsula, and it's because it runs along the whole back of the peninsula, and all the way through to a promontory that juts out into the Whangamata harbour, and very beautiful views of Whangamata, which I will show you at some point. There we go. Not too bad. Quite bumpy in places, you just got to know where to aim. And we'll probably stop there. Save that for another adventure. But that's why Gus is here, and that's why Gus has knobblies, is to explore all the dirt roads in the Coromandel, of which there are many, and save the Ninja for Auckland and the fast roads. Come back if you want to see that adventure down that road, and there's more. And for those who've got sharp eyes and can see, I'm listening to an audiobook here called Almost Human. It's about the discovery of Naledi, Homo Naledi, at the cradle of humankind in Africa, actually in South Africa, not far from where I grew up as a child, near Johannesburg. And it's all about the discovery of this new hominin species. If you're interested in that type of thing, it's a really good book because it's written by the guy who discovered it. Alright, it's a little 3k road to Whangamata itself from the main road, and then from here it's about 5k's into Whangamata itself. And there's Pauanui not far to the north of us, and Tairua, which is also quite interesting. Whitienga's a bit of a ride because you've got to go through the twisties, but Whangamata is 6k's, they say, and beyond that we go down to Tauranga, which is where the in-laws live. So we are beautifully spaced between family. We're 2 hours from home, we're 2 hours from Hamilton, which is where two of our children live, and we are nearly 2 hours away from Tauranga, where the in-laws live. So we are perfectly placed here, and that's kind of the idea of the place, is to have a place for family to come and spend time with us. Because with us all being spread apart, it's quite hard to see each other, and you end up driving for 2 hours, sitting chatting for an hour, and then drive for 2 hours. So much better to find a place where everyone can convene and spend a weekend together, which is not back in Auckland, right? So the idea is we've been coming here for since February. It's now July. I think it's the 1st of July, I think, and or the 2nd even, and I am going to try and work remotely from here. I mean, I'm not going to try, I will be successful, but I'm just going to give it a go and see how I feel about it, because during school holidays, which is the only leave my wife can get because she's a school teacher, we don't really have the opportunity to come here any other time except school holidays, and that doesn't always tie up with my leave, which I have less of, which is mostly taken in December, January. So you know, during the winter holidays for 2 weeks I can work here for a week, and since I only go into the office twice a week at the moment, I don't mind actually doing a drive, a 2-hour drive, or even take the bike, which would be great, at 5 o'clock in the morning, and get to work at 7, because well, on the days that I go into work, I'll get to work at sort of maybe 8. I'm happy to do that once or twice a week, to be able to stay here on holiday for a couple of weeks during school holidays, a couple of times a year. Makes complete sense. And I've got a lovely little office room. So the place is double story, it's got a mezzanine level, so it's got 2 bedrooms downstairs, and a big mezzanine level upstairs where I have got a second lounge, and which has got a sofa bed that rolls out into beds 5 and 6, so we can have 6 people sleep here easily. And it's also got my home office, which is lovely, and you can sit up there and work and then look out the window and see the sea and the waves crashing, so that is really stunning. I just don't want working from here to make this place less of a holiday refuge. That's the only risk. It's like I have 2 phones. I've got a I've got a home phone and I've got a work phone, and there's cybersecurity reasons for that and other things. But I don't want to mix the 2 up, keep them quite separate. I don't even look at my work phone on the weekends unless someone literally has to phone me. And now I'm mixing and blurring between the 2 homes is a little interesting. Anyway, while I've been talking, we're actually here in Whangamata. And on the left is the marina. I'll do a little drive through of the area just to show you. Yeah, hopefully my little plan will work. All I need to do now is find some friends to ride with. So if anybody lives in this area, Coromandel, anywhere really, there's a big ring loop, right? There's a loop from here to Whitianga, across to Coromandel town, down to Thames, and then back over the mountain, the hills, back to Whangamata. And that's a couple of hours. So it's a lovely ring ride. And there's of course many other rides everywhere. I've been up to Fletcher Bay with Simon a couple of years ago. I did the Buddhist retreat, which is also in my YouTube history. That was fun, and just a couple of general rides. So I do know the place, and I plan to explore it quite a lot more. But I am looking for people to share it with, and I know this is a big biking area. Every year there is a massive event on a farm just north of Whangamata, and there's like 2,000 bikes that pitch up, many Harleys, and there's a big bike event. I missed it this year because it happened to be on the weekend we were moving our furniture down here, so I couldn't attend. And then once a year there's the Beach Hop, and the Beach Hop is a motorcycle, well, it's a car, it's a vintage American muscle car type show where the whole place gets completely car mad, and they are beautiful old 60s, 70s, and all years of wonderfully restored cars, and the whole place is flooded and running with cars and motorcycles. So there's a big community, and I almost every time we're down here I see groups of 5 or 6 bikers riding through. They come from somewhere, they're going somewhere, and this is a way through. So if anybody lives in the area or wants to come and ride with me and do a bit of exploring together, look, there we go. I'd be very keen. Especially people who know the area and can take me to some of the better sites and some of the better trails. Alright, so this is the town centre. We came for dinner at a place just last night. One of our favourite places. I mean, there's lots of lovely little restaurants here, much more than where we live in Beachlands. The Smoky Pallet is one of my favourites because they always seem to have space for us. But we've tried various. Rassisies is another easy one to get into. I'm going to do a U-turn. Going straight takes you to Whangamata and then further down to Waihi, Gold Town, and then further you keep going to Tauranga. Waihi and Waihi Beach. Waihi Beach is another beautiful place to visit, and I'll definitely be doing a day trip there and recording that. And but we're going to turn around, do a little loop through the town, and then I'll go to the beach, and then I'll do a little drive, probably just through the waterfront. There's a beautiful walk down the beach too. You can't see it now, but there's a massive long beach to the right of me, and my wife and I did an hour and a half walk down that beach and then looped back another hour. Obviously it's not easy to get to because there's no road on the beach. You've just got these side roads that take you out to parking lots and beach access areas, but there's one right up here, so I will show you one right here. There's one there too, but we'll do this one and then we'll come back and I'll just you can drive along. See that's what I was talking about, that promontory up there. That is the peninsula, and the road, that gravel road, runs at the top of that hill, and then it comes to a lookout point at the end. Beautiful. Let's just get past. Okay. It's a very beachy, very holiday, lots of holiday makers here. It gets very quiet during winter. So I'm quite surprised that there's this many people here, because it is the middle of winter. But it's a beautiful day, so it will attract the beachgoers. So here we are. I'll just stand to get a better view. There's all the surfers, lots of surfing here. See the islands out there. Anyway, let's go and look at the marina. There's a lovely restaurant. Unfortunately, well, they're refurbing it at the moment, so their kitchen is out in the parking lot. But it's a sailing club, I think. And we've had breakfast there once. It was lovely. What is it called? Ocean Sports Club, Whangamata. Beautiful views, obviously, of the harbour on the other side, not from this side. So as soon as maybe they're finished because their kitchen looks closed. Maybe they have moved back inside. I don't know. Let's go and have a look at the water. It reminds me very much of the rest of the beautiful parts of New Zealand. I mean, Maraetai and that whole little area, and Kawakawa Bay, and my home stomping grounds for biking are as pretty and exquisite, but it's just nice to have a different place to come to. And this is very holiday centric. Beach Road Reserve. And at the end of the water in front of us over there is the little road to Whangamata. So we are on the other side of the water here. That's where our batch is, our beach house, our chalet, should I call it? Not sure what to call it. It's a chalet, a beach house, a batch, holiday home. Beach house is probably the best for now. Nobody really outside of New Zealand, and maybe just New Zealand, maybe Australia, know what a batch is. It's not a bachelor's pad. I think it's a Dutch word that means small house or something like that. The other benefit of this place is that it's full in summer of scantily clad swimmers. And now we come around to the marina. I won't go into the marina, but it makes for very interesting walking and looking at all the boats. Here we go, look at that. It's tempting to now buy a boat because there's so many fishermen that are out fishing and catching lovely snapper and all sorts, and just to get out on the water. But you know what they say about boats? There's 2 days that you love your boat: the day you buy it and the day you sell it. Nothing in between, because it's just hard work. And I know that because I had an aeroplane and I built an aeroplane, and the time it takes to actually maintain, prep, look after, the number of hours that go into every hour of flight is enormous. Unlike motorcycles, which is so much better, you can just hop on a bike and go. You can't just hop in a plane and go, and you can't just hop on a boat and go. Not unless you're in a syndicate and people will lower the boat into the water and service it and do everything, but that costs quite a lot of money. So it really is something I need to avoid being tempted to do, but the temptation is real. Can you see it from here, or is this just the dunes? No, this is just the dunes. Anyway, what is interesting is up there in front of me is the lookout that I'm going to take you to in another video through the gravel. Alrighty, let's go explore some more. There's a windy road that goes around Whangamata, and it is a way home. It kind of like cuts out going through the town, and it's how I get to the refuse station to drop off our refuse. It's nice and twisty, so we'll do that. It runs along that mountain range sort of hill over there. Bluefish takeaway make really good fish. If you catch it on a fresh fish day, best fish I've had in a long time. So I'm going to just do the surf club briefly, just to show you. Okay, I think it's there. That's where the surf club is. But I just wanted to take you into this place there. We found a place called Blackie's Cafe. They're very popular. Lovely for breakfast. That's where we come and start our morning walk along the beach. And there was a fair here, a market, just last weekend, which was awesome. Again, this is how you access the beaches. And here's Blackie's. And the last time I was here, a couple of weeks ago, lo and behold, the BMW Club were here. This was their end point, and I missed it. I missed it. Oh, can I go through? Looks like it. Nice. I wasn't expecting to do that. Oh, yeah. Good. And off we go. Now, we're going to head slightly south, slightly out of, well, just at the bottom edge of Whangamata. Yeah. Alright. So, Whangamata ahead. And we go this way. Twisties, next 5Ks. Yes, please. Another thing with New Zealand are these single lane bridges. Alright. Oh, 25. That's kilometers, that's like 15 miles. So that's normally indicates take care, go around in second, the very highest. Not too bad. Now, okay. chopped some trees down here on the hill, and I hope they don't do it soon in Whangamata, because it's so beautiful with the trees and so ugly without it. Look, this is where they've had to fell. So they generally replant quite quickly, and I think within 3 to 5 years it's covered. But for 3 to 5 years it ain't so pretty. So, wow, I can feel rusty on my bike. I haven't ridden in a while. I'm not following my lines like I normally do. And that's it. There's the detour. Done. And we have circumvented the town. And we'll head back to Whangamata. Now, beyond Whangamata, there is a place called I struggle with the name. Pootle. It's even smaller than Whangamata. There's absolutely no facilities. It's very much lived in by locals. And it's got a magnificent beach, which I will go and record at some point, but it's a good 10-15 minute walk to get to the beach. But it is a magnificent beach, and there's a lovely camping site there. And we'll go there just to have a look. It's a nice little drive past the place. But what we did not realize the first time we went there, we emerged on the beach, this pristine looking beach, my wife and I. And we walked out onto the onto the beach, and we looked right. It was beautiful, sunny as far as the eye could see. The occasional umbrella out, but very few people there. We looked to the left, again, very few people, and they were quite widely spaced apart, these people. And they all seemed to have their little umbrellas or tents up, enjoying the sun and basking. So we decided to go for a walk, and we turned left. And what they don't tell you is what happens if you turn left. If you turn right, it's a normal family beach. Kids playing, buckets, sand, parcels. If you turn left, well, we turned left and we walked, and we were walking near the water, and this couple in the distance was walking towards us. And at some point, both of us realized that the guy was absolutely stark naked. His junk hanging out, swaying from side to side, and he's old as well, like 70 plus, right? So not a pretty sight at the best of times. And walked straight past us talking to his wife, and we were like, now I come from a conservative background. We don't use to nudist beaches, right? Not at all. And we're like, did that just happen? So we kept walking, going, oh, maybe it was a one-off, and then we realized, then we started to see white bums facing the sun on towels and white boobs because they weren't tanned there, and we were like, okay, we have come across an unlabeled, unadvertised nudist beach. And we thought it was hilarious, absolutely hilarious. So we were trying not to look, just difficult not to take a peek and go, ha ha. Anyway, we came back, we left, and all was well, but we had guests, and we took our guests there, unbeknown to them. We wanted to have a little laugh, just take our guests for a walk, family, and see what they thought. Or even just invite them to go for a walk down the beach to the left and see what happened when they came back. Unfortunately, every single time we've been since, there's been nobody there. So either they were like, whoops, newcomers, everybody scramble, that's the end of the beach for the next 6 months. Or it was just bad weather, and I think the weather wasn't great, a bit windy, so we didn't see any more. But subsequent to that, we had a look online, and yep, it's a known thing. Okay, here's the turn to Whangamata. Whangamata. It means Oni is beach, I think, and Mana is, you know what Mana is? Gravity, highly regarded, well esteemed. So it's very highly regarded beach. It's the name of Whangamata in Maori. The first day we moved in here, we had people coming to say hi and welcome us to the community. and chat to us and give us their names. And we met more people and spoke to more people on the first day than we did in 11 years in Beachlands. And the other nice thing about Whangamata is it's very, very well maintained. You go onto the beach and there's like a volleyball court set up. Someone is paying and looking after a volleyball court, and it's us, it's the Residents Association. And the lawns are mowed. There's active tennis courts that are used on the beach pretty much. There's a pool, a public pool, which although you have to pay a membership for, is right there. And all the houses are fairly good, slightly better quality than in other areas like it. So it's a well-maintained, well looked-after little place. And they have community events every Friday night. There's a group of elderly the retirees are at the restaurant. We see them every Friday when we drive past. And yeah, and there's events where walkways are repaired, or there's plantings of coastal fauna, and there's just events that are happening, and we are going to make the efforts to get involved, meet the community, get out there, do something different to what we normally do, which is work, watch TV, go to bed, work, watch TV, go to bed, and then escape on a motorcycle from time to time. We're going to change our lives and be a little bit more friendlier, I think. Here's Pootle School. Okay. Hall for hire. We saw a wedding there. So again, this is just like a couple of Ks off the main road, and you are into, well, 5 Ks. A bit further away from the beach than from the main road than Whangamata is. But let's go a little explore. Again, these forests are just stunning. So here's another water inlet. So this is an estuary of sorts. So unlike Whangamata, which is just a little bay, and the Peninsula Road, which has got that whole inlet to the marina, here we have flatlands and swamp. It's quite low and flat. And here's Pootle starting on the left-hand side, and it overlooks. And to the right there is the other side of the forests from Whangamata. It also has motorcycle and dirt tracks, which I'm going to go on. We went there once, and there was a magnificent beach, hidden beach. Man, the best beach I've ever been to in my life, but what a climb. It was up and down hills and through forests. But honestly, one of the nicest beaches I've ever been to. It even had a cave system. Another adventure again. So, here we are, Pootle. Houses are starting to appear. It's very, very rural. Like I said, there's no facilities here. I mean, they've got electricity and power, and presumably they have internet, although they probably just have mobile broadband like we do. But there's no shops that I'm aware of. I think there's a motel. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Fibre is coming. Okay, they're getting fibre too, just past the sign. Okay, so I presume some of it is up there. I'm not going to go up there. I want to go straight, because this goes to the beach, the nudie beach. Here's a lodge, Whanakawa Lodge, and something else. There's a motel coming up. I've got a feeling this is going to be a really long YouTube video, which most people won't watch, and that's okay. But I will, one day, a couple of times, and remember the good times. And there we go. So you park here, and you cross over a bridge, and you walk through those forests in front of us. And it's a good 10 minutes through that forest, and then you're onto that magnificent beach. the wetland area. Lovely. Let's head back. Haven't yet dropped this bike. Keep saying that until it happens, so then I can get it done and dusted, but not yet. I have decided if I'm still riding in 10 years, I will buy myself, if it's still the best thing, I will buy myself a new GS, newish. Will I ever buy a brand new? Don't know. But I'll buy myself a newish one and sell this one and the Kawi and whatever I've got at the then and settle. That'll be my end bike. The end bike, because it's so comfortable and so powerful. It does everything. You can flip and race the thing if you want to. But until then, I've got my eyes on Ducati. So whilst I have a Ninja and it's brand new, well, not brand new anymore, it's 2024 and it's now 2025. So it's still got like under 5,000 Ks on the clock, embarrassingly, because I have not ridden it, because I've been here every weekend. And I've got Tony. Yes, what's happening with Tony? So Tony, my BMW cafe racer that I bought 3 years ago now, still going. And I left him, he failed his warrant. Okay, so I took him in for a problem, something small, to get a service. And I said, please can you do a warrant as well? And they laughed at me. They said, there's so many things that will fail warrants, not even worth starting. I'm like, oh, really? But the previous guy passed it like a year ago. And they couldn't answer that question. So anyway, so I had that repair done, was fine. The guy was really helpful. He explained to me why I was struggling to start Tony, because I was flooding it and I was running it extra rich and the spark plugs were just filling up with carbon. And he showed me and he said, old bikes like that, you know, probably got some worn cylinders and, you know, probably a little bit of oil. Not worth doing anything about, but don't start the bike for 2 to 3 minutes and then turn it off, or 5 minutes and turn it off. Start it and ride it and rev it like hell. Ever since I did that, ever since I never start the bike, turn it off, which I was doing a lot of to test things while I was building it. And then I would, you know, test something that I'd done in exhaust or whatever, and he said, no, just start it, ride it. And I took that advice, and since I've taken that advice, Tony has been legend, absolute legend. Starts, fires up, goes. And then when we got the place in February, February, March, April, May, June, so for 4 or 5 months, Tony has sat, and I haven't had the chance to take it for a warrant again. I haven't fixed the issues. So it's been sitting for over a year without a warrant. I thought, oh, it's going to be, I wonder if it still starts. And I went and I started it, and it went, bleh. And it came on, and then it died. Came on, and it died. And I'm like, things been on a trickle charge, not the battery. So here we go again. What have I done? And it turned out to be the trickle charger wasn't connected properly. Thank you, Stuart. So I put it onto, I didn't even realize that was the problem. I just put it onto the charger, re-put it onto the charger, and forgot about it for a few days. And anyway, when I came back, I just walked past it and I was like, what the hell? I pushed the button again just to confirm to myself that it was probably a wiring problem in the ignition like I'd had before. It was a very similar sort of result. It comes on, and then it just turns off. And it fired right up, boom, brrr, off to go. And it was like idling perfectly. I was like, what? So I wasn't going to turn it off. So I jumped on it and rode it. And I took it for a bit of a burn. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So Tony is cool. There was a little bit of a leak of radiator fluid, so something's pulled out. I need to pop off the fuel tank and reconnect hoses, I think. And yeah, I've got to finish like the little cover. There's a few little cosmetic things that I have to do. And of course, I don't know if I told you, but Tony's wheel came off after I had a wheel change. Literally came off while I was like idling and just going very slow. And while I was leaning it against, on the side of the road, I was leaning against one of these concrete poles because they had no back wheel. The back wheel rolled past me into a ditch. Terrifying. Anyway, That's not the point of the story. The point of the story is I was leaning it against one of these concrete columns and to go and get the wheel, and it moved a little bit forward, just a little bit. And in moving it just a little bit forward, it gouged like the paint off the side of the fuel tank. I'm so irritated. So probably I'm going to leave it for now. I'm just going to touch it up with black. I've got black automotive paint. I'm just going to touch it up. It's on the gold stripe as well, just to make matters worse. But I could never sell the bike like that. I would hate. So I'm going to touch it up. I'm going to ride Tony quite a bit, and I'm going to film some of that. I might even bring Tony here if I feel brave. Tony hasn't seen this place, neither has the Ninja, so there's two exciting trips, because it's a lovely ride to get here. 2 hours of utter motorcycling bliss. And then if Tony is behaving and giving me joy, I will spend the money repainting the tank again. I think I'll stick to the same colour because I really like the look of Tony. I just need to get that warrant sorted. So my biggest obstacle is going to be, I got lucky with the previous guy, but the next warrant place very quickly observed that this was a candidate for a low vehicle volume certificate, because the chassis had been changed and it was no longer the original chassis. So I chopped it off and put the hoop on. So I got to spend $1,000 probably to get it certified. But if it's going to be a bike that's of value when I sell it, and if it's going to keep me out of trouble, then it's money I have to spend. Because if your bike is out of warrant and you ride it and you get caught, you pay money. If it's out of warrant, you ride it, you have an accident, insurance won't pay. So I've got to get it back. Anyway, so that's actually winter worries, and I'm going to start looking at this in the evenings. My shed has been so full of tools and the lift stand and everything that I haven't been able to get into it. So I have made the decision on selling the big motorcycle lift. I know, it cost me $900,000. Sold it for like less than a third of that. Truth of the matter is, it's just too big. I just had nowhere to store it, so it's gone. I do have other lifts, and those lifts are fine. They're small, they'll hold the bike up. Just got to tie down things carefully, no problem. So I've got to just grow up. But now I have space in my shed, so now I can actually access tools and clear my head and start working on Tony again, and then decide what next to do. Do I sell it and build something else, or do I sell it and buy an old Ducati, which I would love to do. I want to buy an old Ducati, the unreliable ones, and clean it up and learn about them and ride it and enjoy it, because I've never had a Ducati. Don't want to buy a newish one because they're expensive, but I wouldn't mind buying an old one and learning about the bike. So if anybody's got an old Ducati and wants Tony's beautiful. Tony I spent $12,500 on, okay, after buying it, so I don't want that much. I know that I'll never get my money back, but if you've got a Ducati 966, 996, something 20 years old, 30 years old, and you want an icon like Tony, get hold of me and we can look at each other's bikes and make a deal, because I am interested. And yes, I will paint the fuel tank, as long as your fuel tank doesn't need to be painted. And we are back, alright? We are on the curvies, on the way back to Whangamata. And what a wonderful ride it's been. I just love nature out here. These places are just so beautiful. Who wants to come ride with me? Meet at Whangamata, meet at Whitianga, meet in Thames, I don't mind. And we go play. And if you happen to live in America or the UK, you're welcome to catch a flight. I will put you up. You can stay with us and we'll go riding. I'll even lend you a bike. No, I'm not that desperate. You have to be someone important, special. Someone who can boost my views. I'll take Ewan McGregor or Charlie Borman. You know, I think they could fit into my profile quite nicely. I've just been watching The Long Way Home. Not as good, eh? I mean, the two of them, their characters, they'll always be entertaining to watch, but there's not enough needle, not enough drama, not enough unknown. I've loved the other three, Long Way Round, Long Way Down, Long Way Up. Still, The Long Way Round is the best, but Long Way Home, I like the area. I mean, I like that Eastern European, Baltic, Scandinavian. I love that. I've been there. I've loved that part of the world, particularly Scandinavia. But it was more of a nostalgia trip than exciting and enthralling. Anyway, you may disagree. If you do, tell me. But I hope they do another one, and I want them to do Australia. I want it to be the long way down under, and they go around Australia. How's that? And then come to New Zealand and do around New Zealand. The long way down under. Come on, Ewan, Charlie, you know you want to do it. Okay, here we go. I'll put a little ramp in as well. See there? And look at that. Perfect. Home sweet home.